Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 19. We are in John chapter 15 today. We're on a chronological walk through the life of Jesus, and we're just following up after the Last Supper, or the First Supper, if you will. And Jesus is on his way to suffering and crucifixion and burial in what we are calling the Great Week. But also, it's really the great day. It's a 24-hour period that goes from the Passover supper until he is buried. That's a 24-hour period. And the when part about this belies the importance of this. These are what we're going to talk about today is something that Jesus wants us to know. So we should well pay attention. Don't ignore this. Now, the where part of it starts in John chapter 14, verse 31, where Jesus says, "Rise, let us go from here." So they're leaving the Last Supper, they're leaving the upper room, and they're going on a walk. And they're heading to Gethsemane, and along the way, this happens. The teaching happens here today. So this is one of the mobile lessons of Jesus. The where part about it is along the way, and it's the farewell discourse. These are the last thing that Jesus wants us to know. So it just sobers us so much to hear the setting that this is given. So here's the teaching, John chapter 15. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me, you can do nothing. There's incredible things in this passage, but what I want to talk about today is this abiding. Last night, I had maple syrup that was made by my daughter from a tree that I know and from sap that comes from the tree. Now, what sap is, during a certain moment in a tree cycle, you put a tap into a tree, and Xylem and Phloem flows out of the tree. You boil it down, and it's maple syrup. As you can imagine, it was delicious. It was plate-licking delicious. And my son-in-law showed me that if you drill into a tree, that this material, this liquid comes out, and it goes up the tree and it goes down the tree, and it pours out and makes this delicious thing. And generally, when we talk about the branches, we say we should stay connected to Jesus. And if we just look at this externally, that a branch, our identity is a branch. He says that we are the branches. He's the vine. He's the main stalk of this thing, and we're the branches. And if we look on the external, we don't really see the critical part of what's going on inside of a tree. There's this layer inside the tree that is alive and active and sending material north and sending material south. It's a communication. It's a connection, if you will. And things are being delivered from the roots to the branches, and later on to the branches to the fruit, and things are being delivered the other way. And that is in this scripture where in verse 4 it says, "Abide in me and I in you." That's the best picture that I can give you about what abiding is. It's not the external connection, even though that's partially helpful. It's the ongoing aliveness of the xylem and phloem that's flowing up and down into a tree. So it is amazing, and part of the amazing part is that he wants to be connected with us, that he is safeguarding us and communicating internally, if you will. The point about this is, So why is this that he wants us to continue to abide? Well, it goes way back to the Old Testament. It's a picture that's used in the Old Testament time and time again. In the days to come, Jacob shall take root. Israel shall blossom and put forth shoots to fill the whole world with fruit. That's from Isaiah chapter 27. So God has always been concerned about the fruitfulness that it may bear, the fruitfulness of Israel, the fruitfulness of his people. So what might that mean? Character, service, witness, and walk. All right, one last thought about this, and that is this pruning part of it. So the where part is on the way. The when part is in the last 24 hours of Jesus's life. The why part is that we may bear. Sort of the how part is this abiding, but also in the pruning. The word that came to mind is how privileged we are to have the Lord's pruning. To be pruned means you have the attention of the vine dresser, of the Father. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 6 says, "For the Lord disciplines the one he loves." So if you're getting the Lord's pruning, the Lord's discipline, hey, it's that the Lord loves you, that he cares about you, that you're family, that he's concerned about the fruit that you're making. And we, Proverbs 12, say if you hate reproof, you're stupid. So let's not be stupid. Obviously, that's good for us. He loves those he disciplines. And do you find sin a struggle? Probably, yes. Then you're in a long line of faithful men and women who are being pruned. All right, so in conclusion, at least just for a first look at the vine and the branches, we need to stay connected, associated, and communicating with our main vine, which is Jesus. That's the abiding. That's the Xylem and the Phloem thing. That's the action that's happening behind the scenes, if you will. And then don't be surprised if you're pruned and reproofed. Why? Because we're supposed to be bearing. So yesterday I had the privilege of tasting, experiencing the Xylem and Phloem and saying, hey, I know this tree. I've seen this tree. I've touched this tree. And in a sense, I'm getting the fruit of this process that's being talked about in this passage. So I experienced some delicious maple syrup. I hope you did this morning too. See you tomorrow.